Every choice changes everything. You are listening to Crossroads Story. Forgive, fall, rise. Tom was an ordinary man with a simple life. He worked at a small repair shop in his hometown, loved spending weekends fishing with his son, and cherished evenings with his wife, Sarah. Their little family was happy, filled with laughter and hope. But everything changed when Tom was arrested for a murder he didn't commit. The news spread like wildfire, and the community that once celebrated him now looked at him with suspicion and fear. Tom felt the sharp sting of betrayal from friends who turned away, unable to believe he was innocent. As he sat in his cell, the walls felt like they were closing in on him. Each day blurred into the next, filled with thoughts of despair and confusion. Tom often replayed the events leading to his arrest in his mind. He remembered the night of the murder, how he had been miles away at a family gathering, yet no one seemed to listen to his pleas. The weight of the false charge hung over him like a dark cloud, stealing his hope and leaving behind a haunting sense of helplessness. He knew he had to fight for the truth, but how could he possibly do that from behind bars? The murder case against Tom began when a man was found dead in a dark alley just a few blocks from his home. The police quickly identified Tom as a suspect, after a witness claimed to have seen him near the scene that night. With no solid alibi, Tom was arrested based on this shaky testimony. The evidence, however, was scant. It relied heavily on circumstantial details and the fear that gripped the community. As news of the arrest spread, whispers filled the air. Tom's friends and neighbors expressed their shock and disbelief, but soon their concern turned to suspicion. Families that had once shared meals with him now looked away in fear, believing he could be capable of something so terrible. For Sarah and their son, the pain was overwhelming. They were left to face judgment from everyone around them, struggling to find words of comfort in a world that had suddenly turned dark. With each passing day, the weight of accusation crushed Tom's spirit further. He longed for the days when laughter filled his home, but now there was only silence, an echo of what used to be, a family haunted by an unfathomable nightmare. Life in prison was a harsh reality for Tom. The cold, gray walls and the clang of metal bars created a constant reminder of his bleak situation. Each day felt like a battle against despair as he grappled with feelings of isolation. He missed his family and the simple joys of life, fishing with his son, laughing with Sarah, and enjoying the warmth of home. In the beginning, Tom struggled to navigate the prison environment, feeling like an outsider among hardened criminals. However, over time, he found unexpected friendships among some inmates who shared their own stories of injustice. They encouraged him to hold on to hope and even helped him brainstorm ways to prove his innocence. Their camaraderie became a lifeline, providing moments of laughter in an otherwise dreary existence. Tom's determination only grew stronger as he listened to their tales and remembered his own truth. He began to write letters detailing his case, seeking any leads that could help him. Despite the heavy burden on his heart, he held on to the belief that he could one day reclaim his life and be reunited with his family, motivating him to fight every single day. Among the inmates, one man stood out to Tom. His name was Jake. With a wide smile and an easy laugh, Jake had a way of brightening even the darkest days in prison. He had been incarcerated for a lesser crime but had spent enough time in the system to understand how it worked. From their first conversation, Jake believed in Tom's innocence and quickly became a source of support. Jake shared stories of his own experiences, detailing the corruption and misunderstandings that led many innocent people to be trapped behind bars. He encouraged Tom to document everything he remembered about the night of the murder, stressing the importance of details that could help clear his name. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day as they spent hours discussing their hopes and fears. With Jake's encouragement, Tom felt a renewed sense of purpose. They often sat together during yard time, brainstorming ideas and sharing tips on how to navigate prison life while maintaining hope. Jake's unwavering belief in Tom fueled his determination to fight against the injustice he faced, proving that even in the darkest places, friendship and support could shine a light. One day, while sitting in the prison yard with Jake, Tom had an idea. He remembered that on the night of the murder, a nearby store had security cameras that might have captured footage of him being elsewhere. Fueled by this new spark of hope, he began to methodically piece together clues about the real murderer. Tom started asking fellow inmates if they had information or contacts outside that could help him gather evidence. With Jake's support, Tom wrote letters to local news stations and even reached out to a few private investigators who might take an interest in his case. While resources were limited, Tom's determination pushed him to explore every avenue, including notes and conversations from other inmates who might know more than they initially revealed. As he gathered snippets of information, a clearer picture began to form. He learned about another person who had a motive, someone overlooked by the police during the investigation. Each new lead rekindled Tom's hope and gave him purpose, turning his despair into a mission. The possibility of uncovering the truth was now within reach, and for the first time in a long while, he felt empowered to fight for his freedom. One evening, as Tom sat in the dim light of his cell, he received unexpected news. One of the inmates had been taken to the hospital. This inmate, known as Max, had a reputation for being tough, but had also been one of the few who showed Tom kindness. As Max lay on his deathbed, he called for Tom. Nervously, Tom made his way to the hospital wing. There, he found Max pale and weak, struggling to speak. Against the backdrop of beeping machines, Max revealed that he had been involved in shady dealings on the night of the murder and had witnessed a crucial moment, something that could change everything for Tom. With his last breaths, Max confessed that he knew who the real murderer was and regretted not coming forward sooner. Shockwaves rippled through Tom's mind as he processed the revelation. He listened intently as Max described another inmate who had a strong motive and was cleverly framed to deflect suspicion away from himself. The weight of this confession felt both liberating and heavy, igniting a fierce determination within Tom to finally expose the truth and reclaim his life before it was too late. As Tom absorbed Max's confession, a whirlwind of emotions surged through him. Anger boiled beneath the surface, directed not only at the inmate who had framed him, but also at the system that had failed to protect his innocence. How could someone so cruelly manipulate the truth and ruin his life? He felt a deep sense of betrayal. Years of his life were lost to a nightmare he never deserved. Yet, amid the anger, a wave of relief washed over him. Finally, there was hope, a glimmer of light in the darkness that had enveloped him for so long. The knowledge that he could fight back and expose the real murderer sparked a fire within him. Tom's heart raced as he thought of his family, the moments he had missed with them, and the laughter that had been stolen from their home. The weight of those lost years hung heavily on his shoulders, but now he was ready to reclaim not just his freedom but also his dignity. With renewed purpose, Tom vowed to act on Max's confession and honor the truth, determined to turn his pain into strength and finally clear his name. With Max's confession fresh in his mind, Tom knew he had to share this vital information with the authorities. He and Jake devised a plan to document everything Max had said about the real murderer, ensuring the details were clear and impactful. After preparing a comprehensive report, they reached out to Tom's attorney, who was skeptical but agreed to help. Tom's attorney wasted no time in filing a motion to present the new evidence to the court. The process was fraught with challenges. They faced opposition from the prosecution, who were unwilling to revisit the case after so much time had passed. There were delays and setbacks, but Tom remained resolute, driven by the belief that he could clear his name. Finally, a hearing was granted, and Tom sat anxiously in the courtroom as his attorney presented Max's confession. The atmosphere was tense as they fought against the chains of doubt and fear that had imprisoned him for so long. As Tom spoke directly to the judge, sharing his truth and recounting his lost years, he felt a wave of determination wash over him. This was his chance, a flicker of hope that freedom was within his grasp at last. When the judge finally declared Tom a free man, a rush of emotions flooded over him. Joy surged through his veins as he stepped out of the courthouse, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face for the first time in years. The air felt different, fresh and alive, but shadows lingered in his heart. As he walked through the streets of his town, Tom was met with a mixture of stares and whispers. Some people looked at him with pity, while others eyed him with lingering suspicion. It was a stark reminder of the label that had been forced upon him, a murderer. Despite being exonerated, Tom felt the weight of that reputation still clinging to him, making each step heavy. Would he ever be able to reclaim his former life? Fear crept in as he thought about how to rebuild his relationships with family and friends who had turned away during his darkest days. Yet, amid the uncertainty, hope flickered. He was determined not only to clear his name, but also to heal the wounds that had been inflicted upon him and his family. With every step forward, Tom was ready to face his new reality, no matter how daunting it might seem. As Tom began the journey to rebuild his life, he confronted the emotional scars left by years of wrongful imprisonment. The road to healing was not easy. There were moments of doubt and fear, but he held on to a fierce resilience that sparked within him. Tom started attending support groups for those who had experienced similar injustices, allowing himself to connect with others who understood his pain. Gradually, he reached out to the family and friends who had distanced themselves during his trial. With an open heart, he sought forgiveness for the misunderstandings and hurt that had formed walls between them. Some embraced him with warmth, while others needed time to adjust to this new reality. For every rejection he faced, Tom reminded himself of the power of forgiveness, not just for them, but for his own peace of mind. Through small acts of kindness in his community and the love of his family, Tom cultivated hope for a brighter future. He became an advocate for justice reform, sharing his story to help others avoid similar fates. In embracing his journey from despair to resilience, Tom emerged not only as a survivor, but as a beacon of hope for those still searching for their truth. Another story ends. Another crossroad crossed. Subscribe now for more tales of love, betrayal, and redemption.